Apex fam? It's your boy Joshua, checking back in with y'all. Gonna be pressing up some tees today. Clue y'all in on what we're doing. We just got some prints in this morning from our favorite printmaker, Supercolor. So let me show you what we're doing. So as y'all know, I always go through Supercolor to get my prints. And this morning we're gonna be pressing up some tees with some graphics that I sent to Supercolor. And as you can see, look at these graphics. These are absolutely beautiful, realistic. The realism in these and the detail in these are absolutely fantastic, and they are going to make for some great t-shirts. So as you know, as most people in this world are, I am a huge fan of black culture and black women in particular. And so I have started a new series called The Black Woman. And what I want to do is just gather nice pictures of black women from around the world, showing off their culture, and put together a t-shirt line, and I don't know, maybe sell them online or something like that. But also today we're going to be pressing up some tees for my homeboy from work, Danny. Danny is a comedian, and he asked me right around the time that I first started working there to come up with some concepts for him to have some t-shirts to wear on stage while he's doing his comedy routine. And I don't know, for whatever reason, his thing is midgets. So shout out to Danny. Thanks for hiring me to do some t-shirts for you. It took a while because we had to come up with some designs. I had to brainstorm. I really didn't know how to incorporate what he wanted, but we got it figured out. Came up with some designs that he liked, and yeah, we're going to be pressing up his tees today. So the first of those designs, and also, let me just say this. I advised him against this, but Danny is a wild man. As you know, with most comedians, no subject is off matter for them, and he assured me that he meant absolutely no harm in getting these tees done, but it is part of his comedy routine, and so I do understand that, you know, we take certain liberties with comedy, and we don't try to judge the comedian for every little joke. So, yeah, here we go. First print that we're going to be doing for Danny is All Midgets Half Off. Sale only 50 cents. And this is a nice big print. All of these prints are super sized. They are 12 by 17. So that's a really big print. And Danny specifically requested some extra large shirts, so that's what we'll be pressing on today. So we got this one, All Midgets Half Off, sale only 50 cents. And then we also have this one, which is a kid eating some dog food out of a dog dish. That is hilarious to me. But I specifically got this image from AI. I used an AI program and just typed in midget eating dog food. And it wouldn't take that, so the next thing I could come up with was a kid eating dog food, and this is the picture that it came up with, and this is just hilarious. The wording I came up with, it says midget tested, dog approved, and if you know anything, that I'm giving away my age just by putting that on there. Back in the day, there used to be a cereal, I'm pretty sure Kix is still around, but it was Kix, and their slogan at the time was kid tested, mother approved. Because of the nature of the picture and the nature of the joke, I switched it up and said midget tested, dog approved. And of course, like I said, I guess the routine he's doing has a lot to do with midgets, and that's cool. I'm really interested in seeing some of his comedy. The guy is hilarious, but he's also very serious and very talented. So, yeah. Shout out to Danny once again for hiring me to do these shirts, and I'm really excited about that. These are some huge, beautiful, detailed prints, and they are going to look good on some t-shirts. So, yeah, let's get started. Let's press these up. I got my heat press already up to 320 degrees, as is instructed by the great friends at Supercolor. Listen, they have never steered me wrong. They have never given me bad instructions, so I follow those instructions implicitly. We're going to be pressing on 100% cotton for 15-20 seconds at a temperature of 320 degrees. We are using the standard heat press 15 by 15 to do this. And yeah, like I said, let's get started. All right, so now we've got our t-shirt reoriented onto the heat press long ways the way it should go. And now what we need to do is place our graphic. Now, as we know, we want to go 4 inches from the collar. And so a quick way of doing that is to measure like this. I saw a video where somebody was saying that that's a horrible way to do it. And you know what? I'm going to agree with them. It is a horrible way to do it. But after years of being a graphic designer, as I explained in another video, you kind of be able to see what 4 inches is looking like. And just for reference, 4 inches is actually probably about 4 of those lines on my finger. So right about there where I'm bending my finger at, if I was to place a ruler there, I would be right about 4 inches. So if I want my graphic 4 inches from the collar, and my finger is at my top finger here, index finger is at the collar, then I need to raise this up a little bit so that I get the actual top of the text right by my pinky finger. Ha ha ha. I'm trying to control my fingers like this, and normally I don't just use my pinky finger. Trigger finger, yeah, but not pinky finger. And I'm right-handed, so I wouldn't be using this finger to shoot with anyway, unless it was an emergency. But nonetheless, I digress. Let's get this oriented on our t-shirt and go ahead and go for our first press. As I mentioned, this is a 12 by 17 inch graphic. It is huge. It's going to sit huge on Danny's chest, and I told him he would appreciate that and like that. But being as I'm working on a 15 by 15 inch heat press, obviously you can see there's some overhang. So we're going to have to turn our shirt around and then press the other end of it to get the whole graphic pressed in, and we'll be ready for our peel after that. So let's get it done. Alright, so now that we've got our graphic placed how we want it on the shirt, you can see I put a crease into my graphic after folding it in half. Now I didn't crease the whole graphic. That would be just not smart. So what I did was I put a crease at the top by pinching it a little bit, and a crease at the bottom by pinching it a little bit, and you can see it right there. And what that does is just allow me to line it up with the crease that we put in the t-shirt, okay? So we've got this oriented. I'm securing where it is. It looks very centered to me. I've got the right height on here, and so let's do our press. We're gonna swing this around. And drop this down. All right. And we are following instructions per prescribed by Supercolor. We are doing 320 degrees at 20 seconds. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. All right. Now what we need to do, because we had that overhang, again, this is a 17-inch tall graphic, and we're on a 15 by 15 press, so this is going to end right about here, which means we got about 4 inches that did not make it onto this initial press. So what we're going to do is turn our pad around and turn our shirt around, get it reoriented, and then press the other end of this graphic, okay? I'll get back with you once I got all that figured out. I ain't gonna let you bore. I'm not gonna bore you with watching me turn the shirt around. That's just not, yeah, that's not cool. All right, shirt's all turned around and placed on the heat press. Got it on that platen how we need it. We'll make sure it's nice and even on there so we get an even press. And we're just going to swing this around. No need to be dramatic about it. We know what we're doing. We're swinging this around, and we're going to drop this. And again, we're going for 20 seconds, all right? 320 degrees at 20 seconds as prescribed. Easy peasy. You know, a lot of video content creators want to bore you to death with all the little nuances that go into it, like turning the shirt around and stuff, and I don't think I want to make you watch all that little stuff. I understand that the longer the video is, the better off it is, and that's just the way the algorithm works, but yeah. All right, so we've done our second press and we are ready to peel. I am confident that we can peel this with no problem. So let's get that done. All right, we've done our press, top and bottom of the graphic. Let's do our peel. You want to peel with confidence. Look at that. Look at that. Confident enough for you? How do we know it all came out right? Look at that transfer sheet. Nothing left on it. That's what we want. There you go, cuz. I got you a shirt made for stage. Midget tested, dog approved. Let's do our second press on this and get it folded up and pressed out, ready for Danny to take hold of. Thanks again, Danny. Have a good one, man. Peace. What's going on, Apex family? This is Joshua getting back at you. We're about to do the second tee that we promised for the guy that I work with, Danny. As I mentioned in the other videos that I've done about this pressing, Danny is a comedian when he's not at work. And, I don't know. I guess his thing for now is midgets. So we saw the first tee that I pressed up for him, which was midget tested, dog approved. It was a tee of a kid eating dog food out of a dog dish. It's a hilarious tee. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it in the description to this one. But the second tee that we're going to do is this one. And it says all midgets half off, only 50 cents. Danny's pretty tall, but I'm going to be honest with you. I know some little people that, they not to be tested and played with, so I'm hoping none of them see this shirt. But I thought this was hilarious because this guy to me looks like a mini version of The Rock. I mean, he's built and buff and everything, got the shades on like he's ready to say, "Do you smell what The Rock is cooking?" That type of thing. So anyway, this is a hilarious graphic, and I'm going to put it on the shirt that he asked for, which is a gray extra large. And here you can see it says, "Warning, midgets bite and are poisonous too. Sale of this product is prohibited to pretty much everyone. All sales are final, no exceptions. You were warned." So this is going to make a funny shirt, and he says he's going to wear this on stage. Hopefully he doesn't get jumped after the show. But anyway, shout out to Danny, and shout out to all the little people that are the bucks of people's jokes. You guys take a lot, and you often have bigger hearts than people twice your size. So, let's get this pressed up and delivered to Danny. And, thanks for checking in. All right, so I went ahead and did the initial press, which is to get all the moisture out of the shirt. You guys know I say it quite often. Don't change up your process. If you find a process that works, stick with that process. And that process works for me. It works for a lot of other pressers as well, people who make garments. So, you want to get all the moisture out of your shirt. And what I'm about to do now is put a center line down the center of my shirt so that when I get ready to place my graphic, it goes in the right place and isn't sitting all crazy on the t-shirt. So let's go ahead and swing this around and get that center line pressed. Another thing to be said about using the same process, to me it's a standard of quality. Like if you do something that works and you continue to do that, you'll always put out a good product, which will always get you a good review from your clients. So this process works for me. I use the same process. It doesn't matter if I'm using, if I'm making one t-shirt or if I'm making 500 t-shirts. The process does not change for me. Well, I gotta put some oil on that. It got stuck. That's the second time that's happened today. But anyway, we've got that crease in there. So now we can find our center point on this shirt and get our graphic placed. And I'll get this all arranged up on the platen and we'll go ahead and do our press. Yo, Danny, I got them shirts coming for you, dog. I appreciate your patience, man. Sorry about the wait, but it's worth it. Let's get it done. So now that we've got our graphic all centered up on our shirt how we want it, I'm happy with that. What I did was place the crease at the top of my graphic and placed another one at the bottom, right about there. and then centered it up with the crease on the shirt, which is centered up with the tag on the shirt. So now we know that everything's centered up nice and even. I can also tell by taking a look at this and taking a look at that. My borders are about the same, so I'm cool with the placement of this graphic right here. I also know that I'm approximately 4 inches from the collar by doing that. Now you might say, well, dude, you're right up on it. Nope, not. The top of that D is right here where my pinky is at. So with that being said, my graphic should be right there where my pinky is at. I'm not covering up the graphic. I'm actually center placing it and placing it where it should be, right up under the collar. So with that in mind, I'm comfortable with this. I am solid on where I want this. Let's swing this around and get it pressed down. As we know, this is a 12 by 17 print, and I am working on a 15 by 15 heat press. So we have some overhang. Easy way to solve that: after this press is finished, we just spin the platen around, or spin the shirt around on the platen and press the other end of it. Easy peasy, not a problem. We're gonna get that done. All right, so we're doing 320 degrees at 15 to 20 seconds. I chose 20 seconds just because, yeah. Anyway, we're about there, so we're gonna go ahead and lift this up, spin the shirt around, press the other end of it, and then we will do our peel. All right, so we all set up and we're ready to start pressing. The first thing we're going to do is a shirt of my design, and I call it Mother. And as you can see, there is a black woman here dressed in traditional garb. And if I'm not mistaken, she is from South Africa. She is isiZulu, was of the Zulu tribe. And listen, I'm not trying to be racist, not trying to get on nobody's nerves, but look at her skin tone. Man, this is a beautiful woman. And with that in mind, this is the front of the shirt. Again, it's a 12 by 17 print, so that's a huge print. And this is the back of the shirt. And the back of the shirt says, "And God saw that man was alone, and this was not good. So God created woman." And together, I think that's going to make a fantastic shirt. We're going to be putting this on a black extra large shirt, 100% cotton. And we're going to do our first press. As we always do, the first press is used to get all of the steam out of the shirt. We do this because we want our transfer to stick to the shirt or adhere to the shirt properly. If you got moisture in there, it produces bubbles and it keeps your transfer from being able to adhere to your shirt. So let's get the first press out the way. We'll press until we don't see any steam anymore. I know people say to press for 10, 15 seconds, but I generally go with not seeing any steam as a good rule. And yeah, here we go. Give this a nice good press. Get it nice and straight. And the next thing we're going to do is find our center line on the shirt and press that into the shirt. And then we will do a fold on our graphics so that we can make sure that we get those centered properly on the shirt. The process does not change. If you keep the same process, you'll always come out with the same results. If you want good results, keep the process that got you those good results the first time, and follow those throughout every time. Don't change anything. Good shit don't change. That's what I was told. All right, so let's let up off of this, and we should be good to go. Yeah, look at that. See, you can tell it's nice and dry. No moisture in there. That is hot. Yes, indeed. I like that. All right. So now that we got that done, we are going to take some time and fold this shirt in half, find our center line, and press it again so that that center line is nice in there. Now, I can already see where the center line is, and that's because when I pressed this shirt, when I placed it on the press, I actually used the tag to center it up. I know that this is the center of the press right here, and that it runs directly down the center of the shirt. So if I kind of use that line from the tag, which is placed directly in the back of the shirt, and just run a straight line down using my finger, I can kind of line that up and make sure that I'm centered up on the shirt. But for practical purposes, just because we want to get this right, we are going to take the shirt off of the press, fold it, and press that crease in so that we are sure where our center line is. Let's get that done, and we'll be back afterwards. All right, so we got our shirt all folded up, placed back on the press. I'm confident with where it is on the press and where I've got it folded at. Now, the important thing is not to put any of the seams of the t-shirt on the press. If you press those in, they are going to be in. It just makes for a bad presentation. So even that collar, where it meets up with the actual shirt, dips down, meets up at the actual shirt right there. Shirt and the collar, come together. You want to make sure that's off of the press. You do not want to press that in. Now, it's not going to ruin the shirt, but again, presentation-wise, it just doesn't look good. So we're going to swing this around and get that press in so that we have our center line on the shirt. Now, because we've already pressed out the moisture from the shirt, there's not really a necessity to keep this down for too long. We just want to keep it down long enough to make sure that that center line is in there well enough to stand up to a couple of pressings, right? All right. Nice and clean. All right, now that we got our shirt placed back on the press, we have placed our graphic down, and we can see what it's going to look like with proper placement. But what I want to tell you guys is that in order to make sure that the graphic is properly centered on the shirt, see how her hat sticks out more to this side, or should I say, it's not a hat, it's a wrap of some sort. But anyway, see how it sticks out more to this side on the graphic than it does to this side? That's not a problem. It's just that you need to find that center line in the graphic and match it up with the center line on the shirt. And so from what I'm looking at, I can see that in order to do that, I'm going to move this over a little bit. And it will appear to be off center. But if you are looking at the border of the pictures in relation to the shirt, here and here, you'll see that it's almost perfectly centered. Now, this comes from years of being a graphic designer and being able to look at distances and get a pretty good judgment of them. But there is a way to make sure that it is perfectly centered, and the way to do that is to fold your graphic in half. Make a center line right down the center, just like we did with the shirt, and then line those lines up, and you'll be ready to go. Because I'm filming with one hand and I don't want to just mess around and crease this unnecessarily, I'm going to try to do this as carefully as I can. Listen, the reason the channel is called A View from the Apex is because we are on our way to the apex. We have not made it there yet. We are on our way, and we'll celebrate that journey together once we get there. So with that in mind, a lot of channels you'll see have professional equipment and can afford professional editors and people to shoot videos for them. I do not have that. I am truly a small business owner, and so every penny has to be well invested for me. And so I have not invested in hiring somebody to shoot videos for me, nor have I invested in a tripod to attach my camera to. So I do everything manually, and hopefully you guys appreciate the struggle and the journey. All right, so what I've got here is now a center crease. If you guys can see that, I've got a center crease right there going down my transfer. So now I can center that up. Bam. And as you can see, based on the margins, that is perfect placement almost. All right, so we're gonna get this all centered up and pressed in, and we'll come back for the peel in just a minute. All right, so I've got everything in place, and we're gonna do our first press. As I stated before, this is a huge graphic, 12 by 17, absolutely gorgeous. Detail is fantastic on this, but as you can see, half of this, well, not half, 5 inches of this print is going to be, well, not even 5, 2 inches of this print is going to be hanging off of the page, off of the press. And that's because this is a 12 by 17 and I am using a 15 by 15 heat press. So we're going to have 5 inches, 2.5, 2.5 on either side. And then we will have overhang of about 2 inches at the bottom, meaning we're going to have to turn the shirt around and do a second press to get that other half of the press, to get the other half of the print onto the shirt. So let's make that happen. Swing this around like this. Check again and make sure we are satisfied with the placement of this. And I'm already seeing some adjustments that I want to make. So you guys bear with me real quick while I get this to where I feel like it's really properly centered. Even though I got my lines on here, sometimes as a graphic designer, you can see when things are not right. And so what I'm looking at, I don't feel is right. But that is good. So I'm pleased with that placement right there. It looks even on both sides. All right, so let's swing this around and do our first press. We are at 320 degrees for 20 seconds. Let's get it. All right, so I've went ahead and switched around the print so we can get the bottom half or the bottom portion pressed in. You can almost see where it didn't get the bottom portion of the print, and that's fine. We'll just turn this around like I did, and we'll swing this around, and we're gonna do the same thing. Go down for 20 seconds at 320 degrees. And that way it'll press the bottom half or the bottom portion of this shirt in. All right. Go with heavy pressure. Like I said, 320 degrees. For 15 to 20 seconds. We're doing 20 seconds. Let's come up with it. That's beautiful. Look at this woman. Mother. All right, we did our peel and it came out beautiful. So we're going to go right back over this again with the second press. And I'm going to use the same sheet to just block the heat, make sure I don't destroy the print. Okay, here we go. We're going for 15 seconds. It's called a second press. And this is going to lock that graphic into the fabric of the t-shirt and make it permanent. All right. I didn't use my timer on there, but yeah, I think I'm going to. There we go. That's beautiful. That is a beautiful print. Look at that detail. Look at that. Oh my God. Mother, you are beautiful. Like I said, that's a huge 12 by 17 print. So now that's the bottom of it. Look at the detail of that print. Shout out to Supercolor. Never failing to come through with a beautiful graphic, a beautiful print. I love Supercolor. Listen, if you're looking to get into the t-shirt business, I'm just going to tell you, Supercolor is fantastic. This is nice and soft and smooth. Oh my. All right, folks, we got our shirt flipped over. We saw how the front came out nice and beautiful, so we're going to follow the same process. We want the same results. So we've turned our shirt over. We got it nice and evened out on the platen, and we're going to go down for an initial press to do what? Get all the moisture out of the shirt. We want that graphic to go down nice and secure on the fabric. We don't want any bubbles in there caused by moisture evaporating out of the shirt, right? So down for 15-20 seconds, and we will come back up and get our graphic on the back placed. That should be good. All right, nice and pretty. So now we're going to get our second graphic, which is actually from Genesis 2, 22, 21, and 22. It's the creation of Eve. When Adam fell asleep, God took a rib from him and formed Eve as a helpmate. And God saw that man was alone and this was not good. So God created woman. Basically, let's keep it real. God created a woman to keep man out of trouble. We can get into all kinds of shit. We all know that. And the only person that's usually around to keep us out of some dumb shit is our mothers, our wives, and our sisters. So shout out to all the women out there. Thank you. You are necessary and we love you. All right, so we got our graphic down. As you can see, I went ahead and put that center line in the top and the bottom of my transfer. Again, this is a 12 by 17. I have a 15 by 15 heat press that I'm using. And so this is going to leave about 2 inches hanging off of the press. But that's all right. We already know how we're going to solve that. So let's get this press down. As I stated before, you want to make sure you keep your creases off of the press. And particularly at this point. The reason being is that back is susceptible to showing that collar crease coming through there. If you're not careful, you'll get that on there and that just looks ugly. Bad presentation. Alright, so keep the creases, keep the seams of the garment off of the heat press. Do not press those into your final press. That's going to be a bad look. Alright, so here we go. We're going down with this press. I like where it's all placed up at. I think it's all set up even. Yeah, so let's get it going. I'm still making last minute eyeball adjustments, but yeah, I think we're there.